Just one more spoonful, please, Sophia, Marina said softly, bringing a spoon of mashed potatoes to the girl's mouth. I don't want to. Sophia pushed the plate away, crossing her slender arms over her chest. I don't want to either, Lucas mumbled, twirling his fork in the food without bringing it to his mouth. Raphael watched from the dining room doorway. His phone vibrated insistently in his pocket, but he couldn't take his eyes off what was happening. For 6 months, the children had barely touched their food, and he no longer knew what to do. Children, he approached the table. You need to eat. Look how thin you are. Dad, we're not hungry, Sophia said quietly, looking at the full plate. And you barely ate anything for breakfast either, Raphael sighed, sitting down on a chair next to the children. Marina, the new nanny applicant on her trial day, watched the family carefully. She had arrived an hour ago and already understood that something much more serious was happening here. Mr. Raphael, she said politely, may I ask the children a question? Raphael nodded, desperately hoping for any new way to help. Marina knelt down to the twins' level, speaking directly to them. Lucas, Sophia, do you like sweet condensed milk? A faint sparkle appeared in Sophia's eyes. We do, Lucas answered for both of them. And popcorn too, Sophia whispered. So, you feel hungry? Marina smiled. You just don't want to eat what's on the plate. The children exchanged glances, as if Marina had revealed their secret. The thing is, Sophia began, but stopped, looking at her father. You can speak, dears. Raphael encouraged them, but his voice sounded strained. We hide food, Lucas confessed, lowering his head. Hide it? Raphael frowned. Where? Sophia got up from her chair and ran upstairs. She returned a few minutes later with a shoebox. Inside were several small jars with leftover food. For Mom, she explained, her eyes filling with tears. When she comes back, she'll be hungry. Silence filled the room. Raphael felt his chest tighten. His hands trembled. Marina watched the scene. Her heart ached for this family. Children, Raphael knelt down, hugging them. Mom isn't coming back. Remember, we talked about this. What if she got lost? Sophia sobbed. What if she's hungry somewhere? Raphael looked at Marina over the children's heads. His eyes pleaded for help. She approached them slowly, also kneeling down. You know what I think? Marina said softly. I think Mom would be very sad if she knew you weren't eating. Moms always want their children to be well-fed and healthy. What if she comes back? Lucas asked. If she could come back? Marina chose her words carefully. She would want to see you strong and healthy. Do you think she'd be happy to see you so thin? The children shook their heads negatively. Then what if we do this? Marina suggested. Let's eat together. And every time you eat, you can think that you're making Mom happy up in heaven. Raphael looked at Marina with gratitude and surprise. In one day, she had gotten to the root of a problem that doctors and therapists couldn't understand for months. Do you agree to try? Marina asked. Sophia slowly nodded, wiping away tears. Will you eat with us? Lucas asked. Of course, Marina smiled. And what if I cook something unusual for dinner? Something you haven't tried yet? Maybe sweet popcorn? Sophia asked hopefully. Maybe, Marina laughed. But first, let's eat real food. Okay, that evening, for the first time in several months, Lucas and Sophia ate almost everything on their plates. It was a small amount, but it was a start. Raphael watched Marina interact with his children, seeing something he hadn't seen in a long time. Hope. When the children went to bed, Raphael found Marina in the kitchen, washing dishes. Thank you, he simply said. I haven't done anything special yet, Marina replied, wiping her hands. You have, Raphael insisted. For 6 months, no one could get them to understand. You did it in a few hours. Marina smiled sadly. Sometimes you need an outsider to see what's happening inside. Raphael nodded, understanding that he had found not just a nanny, but a person who could help his family heal. Marina arrived on Monday morning, carrying 2 large bags and a cardboard box with an unusual aroma. Raphael opened the door, still in his pajamas, hair disheveled, and a cup of coffee in his hands. Good morning, she smiled. I brought a few things from my country. Of course, come in. He moved aside to clear the way. The children are still asleep. Would you like some coffee? Thank you, Marina replied. She placed her belongings in the living room and followed Raphael to the kitchen. The room was modern and spotless, but cold, like a laboratory. She looked at the white cabinets, marble countertop, and the complete absence of spices or anything that would indicate cooking with love. May I look in the cabinets? She asked while Raphael prepared the coffee. Of course, he replied, turning on the coffee maker. Marina opened the cabinets and found only a few basic seasonings. salt, sugar, a jar of expired oregano, and some canned goods. The refrigerator contained yogurts, fruits, and some ready-made frozen meals. Where do you usually eat? A chef comes 3 times a week, Raphael explained, pouring coffee. He leaves prepared food, and Ms. Beatriz heats it for the children. I see. Marina nodded, already understanding part of the problem. At that moment, Lucas came down the stairs in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Good morning, champion, Marina smiled. Good morning, Aunt Marina, he replied sleepily. What's in the box? He asked. These are special spices I brought from Fortaleza. Marina opened the box, showing packets of colorful spices. Want to see? Lucas approached, interested. Marina took a small packet and let him smell it. What a pleasant smell, he wondered. This is kumaru, Marina explained. My grandmother used it for baking. Sleepy but curious Sophia also entered the kitchen. What a strange smell, she said, coming closer. Good morning, princess, Marina greeted. Want to smell it too? While the children explored the spices, Raphael watched them. There was a kind of magic in this simple moment, a lightness that had been missing from the house for a long time. How about we make breakfast together? Marina suggested. But we don't know how to cook, Sophia said. I'll teach you, Marina smiled. Let's make tapioca. It's very simple. She took a bag of tapioca from her box and began to explain the process. The children were fascinated, watching the tapioca turn into smooth dough in the pan. Now choose your filling, Marina said. Cheese, coconut, condensed milk, cheese. Lucas quickly chose coconut. Sophia clapped her hands. Raphael stood at the bar, sipping his coffee. He hadn't seen the children so happy in the mornings in months. Dad, are you going to eat tapioca too? Sophia asked. Of course. He came closer. Marina prepared tapioca for everyone, and for the first time in a long time, the family ate breakfast together at the same table. Raphael noticed that the children ate all the tapioca without complaints. Did you like it? Marina asked. Lucas smiled, his mouth full. Can I learn to cook? Sophia wanted to know. Of course, you can, Marina replied. Every evening after school, we can cook together. After Raphael left for work and the children went to school, Marina explored the house. She put her belongings in the guest house in the backyard, a small but cozy space with a garden view. After lunch, when Lucas and Sophia returned from school, Marina was waiting for them in the kitchen with ingredients prepared for making corn cookies. My grandmother always said that cooking is an act of love, she told Sophia, teaching her to mix the dough. We put a little care into every ingredient. Is your grandmother still alive? Lucas asked, breaking eggs into a bowl. No, she died when I was a teenager, Marina replied softly. But every time I cook these recipes, I feel her near me. Just like our mom? Sophia asked quietly. Just like your mom, Marina confirmed. The love of special people never leaves. It stays in our hearts and in the good things they taught us. The children silently absorbed this thought, continuing to mix the dough. When Raphael returned from work, he was greeted by the smell of freshly baked cookies and the sounds of laughter from the kitchen. He saw Marina and the children, covered in flour, with cookies scattered across the countertop. Dad, Sophia ran to hug him. We made cookies. They smell so delicious. He smiled, noticing how the children looked different. Lighter, livelier. Want to try? Lucas offered, holding out a still warm cookie. Raphael bit into the cookie and tasted something he hadn't tasted in a long time. The taste of home comfort, family happiness, and simple joy. Perfect, he said. And for the first time in months, he truly meant it. That evening at dinner, the children ate without persuasion. They talked about school, cookies, and different spices. Raphael watched Marina naturally lead this family moment, bringing back a forgotten sense of normalcy. When the children went to bed, he found her cleaning up in the kitchen. Thank you for today, he said. It was a pleasure, Marina replied sincerely. They are wonderful children. Yes, Raphael agreed, just as lost as their father. Marina looked at him kindly, understanding that this family's pain was much deeper than children who didn't want to eat. It was the whole family that had forgotten how to live. Aunt Marina, why did you come from so far away? Sophia asked, helping to peel potatoes for the escondido dish they were going to prepare for lunch. Sometimes you have to leave home to discover something new about life, Marina replied, slicing the jerky. And sometimes, when you least expect it, you find a new family. Lucas stopped grating cheese and looked at her. We're your family now. Marina felt her heart tighten. In just 3 weeks, these children had found a place in her soul that she hadn't even known existed. If you want, I'd be happy to be part of your family, she smiled. We do. Sophia clapped her hands, getting flour on them. Raphael appeared in the kitchen doorway, having returned from work early to have lunch at home. In recent days, he had been doing this more and more often, drawn by the warm atmosphere Marina had created. What a pleasant smell, he said, loosening his tie. Dad, Lucas ran to hug him. We're making Aunt Marina's escondido. It's not what we know. How is it different? Raphael asked, approaching the table where Marina had just finished seasoning the meat. It's jerky and queijo coalho, she explained. It's my grandmother's recipe. Raphael watched Marina. Her movements in the kitchen were natural, like a dance. She sliced, seasoned, and mixed everything with a confidence he admired. And the children looked at her like a magician performing tricks. Can I help with anything? He offered. Can you make the mashed potatoes? Marina suggested. Lucas will teach Dad how your grandmother Conceição liked mashed potatoes, with lots of butter and a little milk. Lucas proudly repeated the recipe. Raphael smiled, picking up the potato masher. He hadn't cooked in a long time, not since Isabella died. In fact, the hectic pace of life always made him order food or leave all the work to the housekeeper. Is this okay? He asked Marina, showing her the mashed potatoes. Perfect, she smiled, and for a moment their gazes met. Raphael felt a strange sensation in his stomach, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. Dad, you're blushing, Sophia innocently observed. It's the heat from the stove. He turned away, continuing to stir the mashed potatoes. During lunch, the conversation flowed easily. The children talked about school, Raphael talked about a new project at work, and Marina shared stories from her childhood in Sierra. My grandmother owned a small restaurant in the center of Fortaleza, she recounted. I spent evenings there, learning to cook and listening to the customers' stories. Do you want to have a restaurant too? Raphael asked sincerely. It was my dream, Marina admitted. But life turned out differently. Why? Sophia asked. Marina hesitated. She hadn't yet told the children about Joan, her ex-fiancé, who had left her at the altar 2 months before the wedding. Sometimes dreams have to wait for the right time, she answered diplomatically. That evening, while the children were doing their homework, Raphael worked in his office with the door open, from where he could hear Marina helping them with math and Portuguese. Her voice was patient and supportive. Around 6 o'clock, he went downstairs for water and found her in the kitchen, preparing dinner. You don't have to cook every day, he said. You already do so much for the children. I love to cook, Marina replied, sautéing onions. And they eat so well now. That's true. Raphael leaned against the counter. Dr. Henrique was impressed by how much weight they gained last week. They just needed a reason to eat. Marina said, children feel everything that's happening around them, and I? The question burst from his lips before he could stop himself. What do you think I need? Marina stopped cutting onions and looked at him. There was a vulnerability in his gaze, an openness she hadn't expected. I think you need to forgive yourself, she said softly. Forgive myself for what? He asked. For being alive, she replied kindly, for wanting to be happy again, for allowing your children to see you smile. Raphael felt his eyes fill with tears. No one had spoken to him so directly about guilt since Isabella's death. It's hard, he confessed. I know, Marina said, but your children need a whole father, not half. At that moment, Lucas and Sophia ran into the kitchen. Aunt Marina, can I tell Dad about my school project? Sophia asked excitedly. Of course, dear, she smiled. The teacher asked us to talk about family traditions, Sophia explained. I want to talk about Grandma Conceição's recipes. Raphael smiled, realizing how naturally Marina had become a part of their family history. And I'll talk about how to make corn cookies, Lucas added. Great idea, Raphael approved. Grandma Conceição would be proud. Marina smiled, stirring the seasoned meat. She had started as a nanny, but was becoming much more the link that was bringing joy back to this family's life. That evening, after the children went to bed, Raphael helped Marina wash the dishes. They worked in a comfortable silence until he broke it. Marina, he said, thank you for bringing us back to life. She smiled, drying her hands with a towel. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. They looked at each other for a moment that lasted longer than it should have. Both felt something changing between them, something that went far beyond caring for the children. Dad, did you burn the onions again? Lucas laughed, watching Raphael struggle with the pan. This is the third attempt, Sophia added, sitting on the kitchen counter. It was Saturday morning, and Raphael had decided to try making pancakes for breakfast as a surprise. The result was disastrous. "Where's Aunt Marina? When we need her," he muttered, scraping burnt bits from the pan. "She went to the store," Lucas informed him. "She said she'd buy special ingredients for lunch." Marina entered through the back door with bags and stopped, seeing the scene in the kitchen. Raphael was covered in flour, the children were laughing, and there was considerable mess on the table. "What happened here?" she asked, trying to suppress a smile. "Dad wanted to make pancakes," Sophia explained. "And he doesn't know how at all," Marina clarified. "Oh, I'm trying." Raphael defended himself, running a hand through his hair and scattering flour. Marina placed the bags on the table and approached him. "Can I help?" He sighed. "Before I set the house on fire." Marina stood beside him at the stove, so close that Raphael could smell the faint scent of her perfume. She took the pan from his hands. Their fingers briefly touched. "The secret is low heat," she explained, adjusting the flame. "And patience." "Patience isn't my strong suit," Raphael admitted. "I noticed," Marina smiled. "But cooking teaches you that." She guided his hands to mix the batter correctly, being very close. Raphael's heart beat faster from this closeness, which had been missing for a long time. "There," she whispered, placing her hand over his to show the correct movement. "Dad, your face is red again," Sophia noticed. "It's from the heat of the stove," Raphael repeated his old excuse. Marina laughed quietly and moved away a little. "Now, try it yourself," she said. The pancakes turned out perfect, and breakfast became a real celebration. The children praised their father, proud that he was cooking, and Marina watched their joy with a smile. After Lucas and Sophia went out to play in the garden, Raphael helped Marina unpack the groceries. "Thanks for not letting me embarrass myself in front of the kids," he said. "You were doing well?" Marina lied gently. "Not really." Raphael laughed. "But it was fun to try. Why did you decide to cook today?" Raphael hesitated, arranging fruits in the fruit bowl. He wanted to be more attentive, to do what a father should do. "You already are that kind of father," Marina said. "Your children adore you, and you do it so effortlessly. They're so happy when you cook, when you tell them stories." "I wish I could do that too," he confessed. Marina stopped putting away groceries and looked at him. "Raphael, you don't need to copy me. You have your own way of expressing love." "What way?" he asked. "The way you interrupt everything when they need you. The way you care about every detail of their lives. The way you look at them as if they are the most precious treasures in the world." Raphael felt his heart warm at her words. "You notice a lot," he said. "It's hard not to notice," Marina replied. "You are a beautiful family." There was a melancholy in her voice that Raphael couldn't understand. "What about you?" he asked. "Don't you want to have your own family?" Marina's face clouded slightly. "I thought I would," she said quietly, "but it didn't work out." "What happened?" Marina took a deep breath, deciding whether to tell him. "I was engaged. The wedding was supposed to be in March," she began. 2 months before that, he said he wasn't ready and needed. "Oh," Raphael mumbled. "I'm so sorry. I moved to Sao Paulo," Marina continued. "I needed to start over, far from everything that reminded me of him." "And you still think about him?" Raphael asked. Marina looked out the window, watching the children play. "Now, I understand that maybe it was for the best," she admitted. "Juan never looked at me the way you look at Isabella in photos." Raphael felt something strange hearing that from her. Jealousy. It didn't make sense. "I looked at her as if she was the person I loved most in the whole world." Marina smiled sadly. "Everyone deserves to be looked at like that at least once in their life." They were silent, feeling the weight of the words between them. "Marina," Raphael began, but was interrupted by the children's arrival. "Aunt Marina." Sophia ran to her. "Will you teach us to make brigadeiro?" "Of course," Marina replied, returning to her usual cheerful tone. That day, while they were preparing sweets, Raphael watched Marina interact with his children. She laughed with them, had boundless patience, hugged them when they made mistakes. She was natural, caring, present, so much so that his heart tightened with that feeling. It was dangerous, what he felt. Marina was just his children's nanny, an employee. But with each passing day, it became harder to see her as just that. That night, when everyone went to bed, Raphael couldn't sleep, thinking about the conversation in the kitchen. Marina deserved to be the person looked at as the most loved in the world, and he was beginning to understand that perhaps she already was that person for him. But was it fair to her, to the children, to Isabella's memory? He fell asleep without answers, only with the certainty that his life was changing in ways he couldn't control. "Dad," Aren't you having dinner with us tonight either? Sophia asked, looking at the empty chair at the head of the table. He's busy, dear, Marina said softly, serving the rice with Pecky she had prepared. Dad's solving important work issues, and he hasn't eaten with us for a whole week, Lucas complained, lazily stirring his food. Marina sighed. Raphael had practically been living in the office since his company went into crisis. A hostile takeover attempt had put everything at risk, and he barely left the house, answering calls late into the night and missing family meals. He'll solve everything soon, and everything will go back to normal. She tried to reassure the children, but she no longer believed those words herself. Did we do something wrong? Sophia asked quietly. Of course not, Princess. Marina knelt beside her chair. Dad loves you very much. He's just going through a difficult time at work right now. But Marina knew it wasn't just about work. Raphael was also distancing himself from her. In recent days, he had barely looked at her, answered monosyllabically when she tried to speak, and seemed to avoid being alone with her. After she put the children to bed, Marina knocked on the office door. Raphael, I brought you a sandwich. Put it there, please, he replied without taking his eyes off the computer. I'm on an important call. Marina left the plate on the hallway table and returned to the kitchen, feeling useless. When she came here to work, the family was broken, but at least everyone was trying to reconnect. Now, it seemed Raphael was running away again. The next morning, Sophia woke up with a fever. Marina took her temperature and saw it was high. My stomach hurts, the girl complained, curled up in bed. I'll call your dad, Marina said. She was worried. She knocked insistently on the office door until Raphael opened it. What happened? He asked irritably, with deep dark circles under his eyes and an unshaven chin. Sophia has a fever and stomach pains, Marina explained. I think we should take her to the doctor. Raphael looked at her as if he couldn't understand what he was hearing. Fever, he repeated. Yes, 38.5, Marina showed him the thermometer. Maybe it's something she ate. Suddenly, Raphael's expression changed. Panic flashed in his eyes. Something she ate? He repeated. His voice became strained. What did you give her to eat? Marina was startled by his accusatory tone. The same dishes as usual. Yesterday we made tapioca with fillings and other unusual exotic dishes. Raphael interrupted her, running his hands through his hair. I knew something like this could happen. Raphael, what are you saying? Marina asked in shock. Perhaps Sophia isn't used to these strange spices, to these recipes from northern Brazil, he continued, raising his voice. My children have always eaten simple, ordinary food. Marina felt as if she had been slapped. His words hurt more than she expected. Are you saying I harmed Sophia? She asked. Her voice trembled. Raphael understood what he had said, but stress and fatigue prevented him from taking the words back. I just think that, he began. Dad. Sophia's weak voice interrupted their argument. I feel sick. Raphael rushed into his daughter's room. Marina followed him. The girl was pale and vomiting. Let's go to the hospital, he decided, picking up his daughter. At the hospital, after examinations and several hours of waiting, the doctor diagnosed. A common viral infection, nothing related to diet. She probably caught it at school, the doctor explained. This is a common time for such viruses. Plenty of fluids, rest, and she'll be better in a few days. Raphael felt like an idiot. He had unfairly accused Marina, letting fatigue and stress get the better of him. On the way home, Sophia was sleeping in the back seat. There was a heavy silence in the car. Marina looked out the window, clearly upset. Marina, Raphael tried to speak. You don't need to say anything, she interrupted, not looking at him. I do, he insisted. I said foolish things at home. I was tired and anxious, but that's no excuse. Do you really think I harmed your children? Marina finally asked, looking at him. After everything we've been through together? No, Raphael confessed. I know you love them like your own children. Then why did you say that? Raphael stopped at a red light and sighed. Because I'm scared, he admitted. Of what exactly? I'm scared of feelings I shouldn't feel, he said quietly. And I'm scared of making life complicated for all of us. Marina looked at him and finally understood what was happening. Raphael wasn't just tired from work. He was battling his own feelings. Raphael, she began, but he shook his head. We can't talk about this, he said. It's unfair to you and to the children. And unfair to you too, she replied softly. The traffic light changed, and they silently drove home. That night, after taking care of Sophia and putting her to bed, Marina made a difficult decision. She took out her laptop and began to look for another job. Despite the pain, perhaps it would be better for everyone if she left before the situation became even more complicated. Raphael had made it clear that he perceived her feelings as a problem to be solved, not as an opportunity for growth. And she couldn't continue to live in that house, loving these children and this man, knowing that for him, she would be nothing more than a nanny who had complicated everyone's life. The next morning, with a broken heart, Marina began to make calls. "Aunt Marina, why are you packing?" Lucas asked, standing in the doorway of the guest room, watching Marina put clothes into a suitcase. Marina stopped. Her heart ached when she saw the boy's puzzled expression. "Sit here, dear," she said, patting the bed next to her. Lucas approached slowly, as if he sensed he was about to hear something unpleasant. "Are you leaving?" he asked quietly. "I found another job," Marina explained gently, "with a family who really needs me." "But we need you too," Lucas objected, his eyes filled with tears. At that moment, Sophia approached the door, still pale from illness, but already recovering. "Why is Lucas crying?" she asked, coming closer. "Aunt Marina is leaving," Lucas sobbed. "No, Aunt Marina," Sophia cried, throwing her arms around Marina. "You can't leave. You're our family." Marina hugged the children, holding back her own tears. "You'll always be my family," she said. "But sometimes people need to go their separate ways." "Is it because of Dad?" Sophia surprised Marina with her perceptiveness. "Because of the fight yesterday?" "No, it's not a fight, Princess." Marina lied. "Yes, it was a fight," Lucas interrupted her. "We heard you arguing. Dad was rude to you." "Dad," Sophia cried, running out of the room. "Dad, come here." Raphael appeared a few minutes later, coming out of his office with his phone in his hand and a worried expression on his face. "What happened? Is Sophia okay?" he asked quickly. "Aunt Marina is leaving because of you," Sophia accused him, crossing her arms. "What?" Raphael looked at Marina, who avoided his gaze. "Is it true?" Lucas asked his father. "Are you going to let Aunt Marina leave?" Raphael watched Marina, her eyes reddened. Who wouldn't look at him and his crying, upset children? He felt sick. "Children, go play for a bit," he asked. "I need to talk to Marina." "No, Dad," the girl protested. "Are you going to talk badly about her again?" "I promise I won't." Raphael knelt in front of the children. "I just need to talk to her." "Okay." The children reluctantly left the room but stayed in the hallway, clearly trying to eavesdrop on the conversation. "Is it true?" Raphael asked once they were alone. "Are you really leaving?" "I found a job with a family in Mema," Marina replied, resuming her packing. "I start on Monday." "Because of what I said yesterday?" "Because of many things," she sighed. "Mainly because it's better for everyone." "Better for whom?" Raphael approached. "Look at the children's condition. They're devastated." "They'll get over it. Children are resilient," Marina said, though her voice betrayed the pain she felt. And the question came quietly, vulnerable. "You said we couldn't talk about it, remember?" Raphael ran his hands through his hair, disappointed with himself. "I was scared," he confessed, "and now I'm even more scared." "Of what?" "Scared that you'll leave, and I'll spend the rest of my life regretting that I didn't fight for you." Marina stopped packing and looked at him. "Raphael, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I love you," he said for the first time in days, his voice firm. "I'm saying you're not just my children's nanny. You're the woman who brought life back into this home. You're the person who reminded me of what happiness is." Marina felt her heart beat faster, but she shook her head. "It's not that simple." "Why?" Raphael approached. "The children love you. I love you. What else do we need?" "Time," Marina replied. "You lost your wife less than a year ago. Perhaps you're confusing gratitude with love." "Do you really think I don't know the difference?" Raphael asked, taking her hands. "Marina, what I feel for you doesn't diminish what I felt for Isabella. These are different things at different times in my life. Marina, stay. Not as a nanny, but as the woman I love, as the stepmother my children chose, as my companion." Marina looked into his eyes and saw a sincerity, love, and vulnerability that completely melted her. "What if it doesn't work out?" she asked quietly. "What if it does?" he replied. "Marina, you're already part of this family. The only difference is that now I'm asking you to stay officially." At that moment, there was a noise in the hallway, and they saw two curious heads trying to hide behind the wall. "You two come here," Raphael called, laughing despite the tension. Lucas and Sophia appeared, embarrassed at being caught. "Sorry, Dad," Lucas mumbled. Aunt Marina, are you staying? Sophia asked hopefully. Marina looked at these three who, in a few months, had become her whole world. Raphael with eyes full of love and fear. Lucas and Sophia looking at her like the missing piece of their family puzzle. I'll decline the other job, she finally said, and immediately plunged into a collective hug. So, are you our real mom now? Sophia asked. Marina looked at Raphael, who smiled and nodded. If you want, she replied. We do, the children shouted at the top of their lungs. That night, for the first time in several months, the whole family had dinner together. Raphael talked about the company crisis, which had finally been resolved. The children shared their vacation plans, and Marina finally felt at home. When the children went to bed, Raphael and Marina stayed in the kitchen, washing dishes together, as they did every night. But now, everything was different. Thank you for staying, Raphael said, drawing a plate. Thank you for asking. Marina smiled. Yes, I love you, he said, as if tasting the words. I love you too, Marina replied. And for the first time, the words flowed freely, without guilt or fear. Raphael pulled her into a tender and promising kiss. When they broke apart, Marina knew she had found not only a family, but also the love of her life. Meanwhile, the two children smiled before running back to their rooms, knowing that they finally had a complete family again. 18 months later, on a Saturday morning, Villa Milena was bustling. Marina adjusted her 5-month pregnant belly, overseeing the final preparations for the opening of Grandma's Flavors. Aunt Marina, where should I put the flowers? Sophia asked, carrying a vase of sunflowers. There, on the table at the entrance, with love, Marina replied, pointing to a spot decorated with lace tablecloths and old family photos. Mom, the TV crew has arrived, Lucas announced, easily using the word that made Marina's heart warm every time she heard it. I'll talk to them now, she said, smoothing her colorful dress that highlighted her rounded belly. Raphael came out of the kitchen with a tray of hot cox and haws. How are you feeling? He asked, gently kissing his wife's forehead. Excited, happy, and nervous. Marina laughed. And the baby is excited too, Raphael said, placing his hand on her belly. He won't stop kicking. He wants to meet Mom's restaurant. Sophia approached to touch her belly too. Yes, little brother, we don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, Lucas remembered. I know it's a boy, Sophia insisted. And his name will be Miguel, like Aunt Marina's great-grandfather. We'll find out soon. Raphael smiled, looking at Marina with such love that she still wondered, even though they had been married for over a year. The wedding had been simple. It took place in the garden of the house, where the children were the best men and bridesmaids, and Donna Carmen cried even more than the bride. They spent their honeymoon in Fortaleza, where Raphael met Marina's family and fell in love with the beaches of Sierra. Donna Marina, a familiar voice called from the entrance. Marina turned and saw Donna Carmen with a huge tray of cocadas. Mommy Carmen, you didn't have to bring anything, Marina protested, but smiled, seeing her mother-in-law, who had become her best friend and partner. An opening without Carmen's cocadas is no opening, the lady replied, placing the tray on the counter. And look who I brought with me. Behind her appeared Joanna, Marina's sister, who had moved to Sao Paulo 3 months ago to help with the restaurant. Sister. Joanna hugged Marina carefully. Everything is so beautiful. Grandma Conceição would be proud. I hope so. Marina sighed, moved. At 10:00 a.m., the doors of Grandma's Flavors officially opened. The restaurant had only 15 tables, decorated with Marina's childhood photos, clay pots on the walls, and the alluring aroma of northeastern spices. The first customer was an elderly woman who lived in the neighborhood and had been watching the renovation of the establishment. What a wonderful smell, she remarked, sitting at a table near the window. What do you recommend? Everything here is prepared with great love. Lucas proudly replied in a small apron Marina had specially ordered for him. But the specialty is my mom's escondido. The woman smiled, seeing the boy's confidence. Then it will be escondido, she decided. Throughout the day, the flow of visitors did not stop. Curious neighbors, family friends, journalists eager to hear the story of the northeastern chef who had captivated the heart of the five-fingered businessman. Marina, I have a surprise for you, Raphael said, approaching her as she checked a dish in the kitchen. What surprise? Show me. He led her to the restaurant entrance. There stood Joan, her ex-fiancé, holding a bouquet of flowers with an awkward expression. Hello, Marina, he said softly. Marina felt Raphael tense beside her, but she simply smiled. Hello, Joan. What are you doing here? I heard about your restaurant from the newspaper, he explained. I wanted to congratulate you and apologize for everything that happened. You don't need to, Marina replied sincerely. On the contrary, I should thank you. If you hadn't refused our wedding, I would never have come to Sao Paulo, she explained, taking Raphael's hand, and I wouldn't have met my real family. Joan looked at Raphael, then at the children who approached curiously, and finally at Marina's belly. Are you happy? He noticed. Very happy, she confirmed. Then I'm happy too, he smiled sadly. You deserve all the happiness in the world, Marina. He handed her the flowers, politely greeted Raphael, and left the restaurant. Marina watched him leave with gratitude for him being a part of the journey that had brought her here. Are you okay? Raphael asked. Perfectly, Marina replied, leaning on him and thinking how funny life sometimes was. A year ago, I was broken. I thought my life was over, she reflected. And today, I'm here with my own restaurant, married to the man I love, and a mother of 3 beautiful children. 3? Sophia asked, hearing the conversation. You, Lucas, and the baby who will arrive soon, Marina explained, stroking her belly. What about Dad? Lucas joked. I have to tolerate Dad. Marina laughed, receiving a kiss from Raphael. At the end of the day, when the rush subsided, the family gathered at a table in the back of the restaurant to eat together. It was the same food Marina cooked at home, but here it had a special taste. The taste of fulfilled dreams. Mom, can I make a toast? Sophia asked, raising her glass of juice. Of course, Princess, to Mom's restaurant, to our family, and to the fact that now everyone can taste the most delicious food in the world, Sophia said solemnly. Cheers. Everyone clinked glasses, laughing. Marina looked around the table, seeing Raphael sharing his chicken leg with Lucas, Sophia licking Brigadeiro, Donna Carmen telling stories to Joanna, and felt a deep peace in her heart. Sometimes life's best ingredients appear at the most unexpected moments. She came to Sao Paulo escaping a romantic disappointment and found much more than she expected. She found her perfect recipe for happiness, and when the baby kicked hard in her belly, as if wanting to join the celebration, Marina smiled, knowing that the best part of the story was yet to come. Outside, a small sign swayed in the evening wind. Grandma's Flavors, where every dish is made with family love.